Welcome, everyone. We're here for the Campfire Dream Bites dedicated to the winged ones and the crystal beings, the minerals and the two-leggeds, you might say. So let's take a moment to attune together. First, feeling the breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, to allow some release into a deeper relaxation, relaxing into stillness. And with this exhale, let's pause just a moment and feel the peace. You may be able to feel your own heartbeat. And in your mind's eye, see yourself walking, feel the energy moving in the body. Slowly, inwardly look around and feel the environment around you, filling with a little more awareness every time we take a step. Feel your feet on the ground. You may look around and see trees, walking through the forest. What am I feeling right now? Perhaps you're hearing the trickle of a brook, the stream. Maybe there's creatures. Perhaps the creepy crawlies or the four-leggeds, chipmunks, or the winged ones are here with us. And as we walk forward, let's continue to move towards a place up ahead that we see as a clearing in the forest, where there's a fire burning, yellow-orange flames, and we walk towards the fire and find our place by the fire, where we can begin to warm our fingers and toes and all the way to the core, continuing to just allow the breath to be completely at ease. And around this crackling fire, we can see there's a circle of stone. We give thanks for the stones, and the silent stones have inspired us just a little bit to share perhaps some stories from the mineral kingdom today. Let's just take a moment to connect to the shining ones, the radiant, angelic, Davic beings that maintain the stones. And you can look around and see the circle of trees around us, surrounding us. There's a circle of trees which creates a sacred grove. We give thanks for the trees and the plants, feeling their medicine for just a moment. And we also invite and give great gratitude to the animals, inviting any animals who wish to be here, whether they wish to be heard or to remain silent. We can also receive their transmissions in silence and secrets, sometimes stronger than otherwise. And as we imagine ourselves here in this grove, just for fun, let's just imagine ourselves with a newfound ability to take wing, to take flight, perhaps embodying one of the birds. When I was young, I used to have a very recurring dream where I would be walking and then I'd start to jump, until I jumped so high that I was just flying or floating. So that might be one way to imagine the gift of flight, the gift of soaring, the feeling of freedom. So we give thanks to the animals, to the ancestors, to the beautiful shining ones, the future generations. And we can just let that go and come back to the fire. Feel the feel the flames warming our hearts with some anticipation, some expansion of the heart, and above all, a deep love for the interconnected quality of life. So as we close, take another deep breath, and we'll just let this go and invite some stories.
Thank you, David. Maybe I will start then. Thank you for tuning us up into this lovely space. And it was so lovely to like imagine even the flying. I really love it. I actually did it the other day. It's Kasia speaking, by the way. And I really was actually tuning into the birds because our theme this week is the winged ones. So there were so many birds that came to me this week and last week, like more than ever, which is quite surprising because the weather turned a bit colder, and you would have thought that the birds are going to be really like sort of hiding a little bit more. But I guess they're getting ready to either fly away to the sunny places, or maybe they're just getting ready for winter. There's so many like chatter, there's so many birds meeting and chatting together, and I always tune in and feel like, what do they talk about, like what do they discuss, and how do they plan, where do they go next? And then I watch them fly, and I also feel like, how would it be if I was like them flying? And it's beautiful. So thank you for inviting us to that. That's really really special to actually do that as a little exercise for ourselves, to feel that freedom. And my winged one that came to me without a doubt was a buzzard, because it's just been every day, which is quite unusual when it's like I live in a pretty small town, not a city, but not a village. And they are here quite common in a way, which is quite unusual because they're quite usually more in the fields. And so that's lovely. It's lovely to see him just soaring really high, and you can feel the other birds are getting a little bit stressed because obviously one of them might end up being the buzzard's lunch, which happened quite a few times, even in my garden. And I was just observing the circle of life, and I was fascinated by it, and slightly terrified as well. I mean, all the emotions. But I was watching this week, I was watching it just really soaring in the sky, majestically, like beautifully, and making this very specific call, almost like a whistle, very high pitched whistle. And I walk my doggy, or I just go for a walk myself, and I can hear that whistle, and I'm straight away looking up in the sky, going like, "Ooh, there it is." And Buzzard is connected to Jinky 33, and it's all about ancestral. What does it say? Actually, it's ancestral revelations, the vision of ancestral revelation. But also, for me, it's like it's connected to, I have this specific Jinky in my sphere of emotional quotient, so EQ, and I really was feeling into it, and feeling into it for myself and for all of us collectively. And I feel this is something that is so at the moment needed, to be very mindful. It's a gift of shadow of forgetting, gift of mindfulness, and city of, what was it? Let me have a quick look. Well, yeah, revelation. So and the gift, especially, I'm drawn to the gift because it really speaks to the being in a present moment. And especially now when there's so much going on in the world, all great and not so great, all of it, all of it. Just to find these moments of like mindfulness, and really be present in what is at the moment, with our thoughts, with our actions, with everything, and just like feel it, like not trying to fix it, not running ahead of it, not like looping back in the past, just being. And that's something that I'm just really sitting with this week a lot. And since we mentioned crystals, I was I love crystals so much. Just to start with, they are just the most magical gift to us from Earth. It's just like there's so many, they're all so different with so many different energies. And I was just feeling like, which one to bring today? And, you know, not one was coming out. There was so many. They were kind of jumping at me like, take me, take me, take me. And I end up actually, you know how it happens sometimes when you're being just drawn to an object or a sign or something. So I was drawn to the book, which I will show you now. It's a book that is so beautiful in itself and the creation I'm trying to show. It's got this like golden, beautiful. I'm just showing for all of those who is listening. I'm just showing the book. It's a book called the Great Book of Crystals, a project of our heart, and it's by Katarzyna Bratumiła-Baran. It's a Polish author. My dear friend recommended it to me, and it's got this like lovely golden spine as well, and it's full of amazing crystals, like photos, beautiful photos, and descriptions by her. And she also created the cards, which, these are the cards. They are really beautiful as well. Beautiful design. I love all these card decks. They're so much fun to just draw. So I sat down, tuned in, had a moment of mindfulness, being here and now. And I just tuned into our meeting and just like thought, which crystal wants to come? And selenite arrived. I don't know if you can see, beautiful selenite with a little description. The book is written in Polish, so I actually wanted to do something slightly different. There is a much longer description in the actual book, but I am going to read for you that little writing at the bottom. But what I want to do a bit differently today, I would love to read it to you in Polish and then have a little pause and read it to you in English. But I just would love you, anyone who's listening, to tune in. If you're Polish, obviously that might mean a slightly different meaning for you because you might understand more of the words. But it doesn't matter if you do or don't. It's more about understanding the sort of meaning of the sound of the language, because I feel we are in the territory of all sorts of different languages. And as I'm trying to understand the birds, hearing them singing with each other, and I'm trying to hear, what are they talking? It's the same story that the crystals are talking to us when we hold them, but also when we have different languages, just to feel a little bit of essence of it. So if you're ready, I'm just going to read. It's a very short little description. So here we go. Selenit. Jestem wewnątrz swojej wielkiej tajemnicy. Prowadzę swoje życie po księżycowej nici, która wychodzi z labiryntu umysłu. Myślę i mówię to, co czuję, trafiając w dziesiątkę. Przekaz jest prosty, klarowny i celny, bez tłumaczenia, sama esencja i trzeźwe błyśnięcie diamentu świadomości. So that's the Polish version, and now just the English one. Selenite. I am inside my great mystery. I lead my life along the moonlit thread that lifts me from the labyrinth of my mind. I think and speak what I feel, landing right in the heart of the matter. The message is simple, graceful and clear, without interpretation, pure essence itself, the sober sparkle of the diamond of consciousness. So that's my share, and thank you so much for tuning in to all the different languages. Thank you.
So thank you, Cassia. That was so fabulous to hear that all and the frequency of the language I didn't understand in my body as you read it. It was absolutely fabulous, and it segues perfectly into what I wanted to talk about. And what I wanted to talk about was sort of good vibrations. And as I was kind of thinking about how I would bring this in, I was, of course, thinking about the song Good Vibrations from the Beach Boys, with great gratitude and the fun of that music and the frequency that music creates within us. So I have a few stories about winged ones. They're little short sort of experiences that I've had. And so the first was years ago, I was skiing and I sort of came whipping around a corner towards the lift. And all of a sudden, Raven was flying towards me directly into my face. And it was the most amazing experience because I could just feel its vibration in every wave around me. It was like there was this pulse that Raven sort of gave to me that changed all the energy around me. And of course, at that time, I was in a really high kind of ecstatic state, being in the mountains, fresh air, sunshine, moving my body. So it was just very cool. And then when I was sailing another time in a small dinghy on another beautiful day, eagle came straight towards us. And I could feel the penetration of eagle's eyes and the strength of its wings moving the air. So just the movement of the wings and how that penetrates into my system. And then last year I was kayaking on a summer's day, and there were like 12 Canada geese came towards me in my kayak, and they passed a stern and just about 10 feet from my boat. The sound and the vibration of their wings beating just penetrated every cell of my being. It was the influence of the vibration of their presence and how their wings create that presence for me. Obviously, listening to their sounds is amazing also, but it's really that motion of them. And then, of course, gardening, and I'm a big gardener, and hearing and feeling the wings of a hummingbird as they whoosh by. And immediately that always floods me with joy. And yesterday I was actually in the garden, and it's the time of year here in November when you have to clean things up. And I kind of stood up, and then all of a sudden 2 juncos went flying right in front of my face. It was so fast, and it was so like, whoa, what was that? And I realized it was they just went into a little bush close by, and I realized it was these 2 juncos. And it was just the vibration of them in the air that was just stunning for me. And it was just so magical. And I was just like, I was in awe of how they maneuver, and like they never would have hit me and things like that. But it was just so close by my head. And I was just like the amazement of what their wings do, how they navigate, so much of what is a mystery, and I love mysteries. So it was all these little stories really remind me, and David brought it up in the attunement, is that our interconnection with nature. And that is such an important feature of my life. So I really found that cool. And then I was really thinking about how we receive vibrations and frequencies, especially when we're really, really open and enjoying ourselves. So when we're kind of in that higher state, how these vibrations and energies penetrate into our state and just augment it because we're aligned, we're in coherence with the possibility of accepting these messages and things from winged ones. So for me, each time it's the power of the wings that grab my attention, how that feels in my body. I understand why feathers are really used to clear auras, because even I'll do that. And it's just this amazing feeling of removing debris from around my body, and the brush of the air being moved immediately calms my spirit. So it's just one of the ways that we use the gifts of feathers. I connect with lots of crystals. I'm not really somebody I would call a huge crystal person, because I know some people who live and breathe crystals. But I put a crystal in my hand, and you feel the vibration of the crystal. And it's, for me, again, it's a much subtler affair, but they're definitely sending their messages. And again, the more I can listen, the more I get the message. So remembering all of these vibratory encounters really moves me into just wonder and awe and the mystery and the excitement of life. And it also makes me really pay attention to my own vibration. And a contemplation for all of us that I'm just going to leave us with is, what vibration do I emanate into the world?
So beautiful. Yeah, you reminded me of my um, ongoing friendship with feathers. This is my closest collection of feathers here. That, but I tend to just really attract and even accumulate feathers. The one thing that I recall from my early ponderings of animal speak uh, is there's a section in there called Feather Magic, where Ted Andrews reminds us that we are the ones who imbue the magic into the feathers. So it's a different way of looking at it, you know, and the question of what vibration do I bring is so relevant. You know, it's so uh, spacious and full of potential, I guess I could say. And the I'll share a couple of the immediate in the moment experiences, um, both with the vibration of stones and the vibrations of the birds or the presence of the birds. Before I had a kind of an eye-opening experience uh, on the hill back in 2004, where I uh, was just filled with energy when I, you know, met this bobcat holding a snake. But the interesting um, thing about the progression of that experience, this was in a healing time uh, after I had a major health crisis in 2001. But the year before that, I had uh, stumbled upon a place in Portland, Oregon, where I was living at the time, called Gemisphere, and it's an amazing collection of healing gemstones, is what they've created and curated, I guess you could say. But the way it occurred for me was every day I was sitting in a cubicle every day, and I would go walking, and I walked to a place called Forest Park because, well, it's the largest park in America, and I could feel the, you know, the energy of nature, even though I was right there in the city. And this particular one of the particular ways I walked right by this place called Gemsford, and I always look in there and see the kind of glittering gemstone necklaces. And I just walked in out of curiosity one day, and they gave me a book which was called Wisdom of the Gemstone Guardians, and it was these amazing stories about the guardians, what they call the guardians of the gemstones, or these you might call them astral beings. That might be a way of speaking of. So it started this romance with the stones, and I don't speak about it a lot. It's kind of private, but you know, even at the moment, I could expose myself, and you'd see that I have a number of gemstone necklaces that I've acquired, and so I've been wearing a lot of rose quartz. Today I've got uh, on leopard jasper, aquamarine, citrine, and this beautiful little necklace. It's called Insight. That is two types of amethyst, and I've got a little ring with a blue opal on it, and some little gold beads. So that's probably enough story for the crystals. Is just the healing energy, and I actually started relationship, or I met a person who was a practitioner with this particular type of healing. And for me, there's like a part of my, like a left brain part of me that's the analytical part that's like questioning, like, really, really, really? And the other intuitive part that's saying, yes, yes, yes. But in this experience, when I first had a session with this guy, now a friend named Al, I experienced this, I was just lying there with my eyes closed and I experienced just this huge rush of energy. And I thought, well, what could he possibly doing? And all he was doing was holding a bundle of these spherical stones over my solar plexus. And so it was like a somatic reminder that, the energy, the vibration is real. And so I'm, working every day to use it with greater intention. And so it's interesting to be in the discussion of the crystals and the birds. The first one that I chose to uh, purchase was a string of onyx, black onyx, simple black onyx, which is said to be very grounding. And so there's um, a call to, you know, when one has one's head in the clouds, to keep one's feet on the ground, so to speak. So it's kind of appropriate, it feels like, to discuss the birds. I'll just share just my most recent story, which was yesterday. I was noticing that my hummingbird feeders were low, and they were still feeding, but I didn't want it to go empty because they come to depend on me. Maybe that's arrogance, but I come to depend on them. So I boiled up some nectar from sugar and water, and uh, I went to, once I got it all cleaned out and filled up, I went to put it up. I had a ladder up there where I hang my hummingbird feeder. And as soon as I got it hung, like right behind my head, I could like practically feel the hum, 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 like they were right there watching me. Or I felt like perhaps even thanking me. And in terms of the relationship with Gene Keys and the dream arc, we're in a transit through with the Earth in the eighth key, which does relate to hummingbird, this energy of the hum, energy of to me, it's always an energy of the Om, and of uh, the luminous colors and the opening into joy, sometimes even in the depths of difficulty or sorrow, constriction. And over the last week, we I've been with my wife's father's significant other and my wife, but he passed away a couple of weeks ago, and we were there, helping him before he died. And so we felt like we wanted to really go up and support um, Nancy, who's been within this last 33 years, not my wife's mother, but a good friend. And as we drove up there, we encountered first we encountered a bald eagle soaring, and over the course of the rest of the trip, it was about a 5-6 hour trip, we saw 3 more bald eagles, which was beautiful to me because the eagle itself is such a beautiful symbol of spirit, and the transition to the spiritual realm is also partly why we went, to help Stan, the deceased, to find his way, by sharing our own love and care. But the interesting thing, when we arrived, I told Nancy about that, was um, she experienced having gone into town and felt Stan when a bald eagle went over her car, right over her car. So she had the same experience of connecting through the birds to the spirit realm. And so that's kind of the essence, I think, of any bird, and each of them is so unique. Like when we went hiking, there was the sound of the ravens, this ominous sound that not quite like any ravens I've heard before, but the ravens were definitely present. And again, um, a beautiful energy. So that's my approach, I guess, with any animal, and particularly the birds when they come into my realm, is first of all to take heed, to notice, to be mindful, as Kasi so graciously shared, to be a little bit more mindful and aware of what is, particularly going on inside me, perhaps in the environment. But above all, to share love, to radiate love. And I'll just finish with, from my hummingbird collection, I'll finish by reading this particular hummingbird message that I wrote some years ago. And the hummingbird, incidentally, has been in my moon contemplations, just repeatedly. And so it's definitely a reminder at this time for me to pay attention, because sometimes the animals that are very close and are all around me, they don't get much attention. Like, but it can be very useful. So this particular one says, "Divine hummingbird, I hear your hum in the depths of my soul. On the surface of things, they sometimes look bleak. Looking out on the world, there is little we can depend on these days. It is a deceit. Yet under the surface, your joy resounds. Why do you remain hidden? Most live in a state of bewilderment, wanting happiness but never feeling satisfied. Will you speak?" So that was my inquiry to the hummingbird. Yes, I am Hummingbird, your small friend and companion this month. I am always with you, ever ready to touch your heart flower. Life is so precious and fleeting. The blooms of summer give way to winter cold. This is the time to cultivate the golden flower at the center of your being. As human flowers begin to open, I visit them one by one. I cross-pollinate your souls with my joy so that you begin to feel your oneness. As I sip the nectar of hearts, I also gain strength and power in your world. When you climbed the sacred mountain, it was a clear day, a clear blue day, and when you reached the top, there was elation, but when you looked down, you saw brown haze over the valley. There is currently an insidious haze over the minds of the people. The blue sky above you is not as blue as it seems. A subtle doubt of fear pervades the thoughts of many. I am here, the tiny hummer, as an emissary from Father Sky, whose love is so great for you that he cradles his children of earth with clouds of purification. As the storm builds and the rain pours from the sky, go inside and remember it is clearing the air and feeding the earth. Even the darkest stormy nights, you may feel his golden glow radiate from your own sun, your solar plexus. Let that flower open now, and you will find me there and hear my song of ecstasy and love. My joy is your joy, which I carry for you when you forget. And when you remember, I carry your joy swiftly in all directions, in front, behind, to the left, the right, and below. Remember the clear skies on the mountain top, and know that even now all is well. The great mystery of life is unfolding within you. With deep respect, I thank you for listening, for the hum of my joy.